When I saw your fresh grave there in the cold driving rain, I knew I had to have you. A few sad mourners clung to the crumbling edge of earth as it awaited the offering of your body, your flesh, and your sweet bones. Your family listened intently through their tears as the old priest hurried through his monotonous litany, and their oldest child was laid quickly to rest in a cold, dark place. Not one of them seemed to notice the water pouring from the sky, and no one saw the one who watched eagerly nearby, perched on the rotting tomb of someone among the ancient dead and already long consumed. You were only a child, a woman child, when you were grabbed by what? Was it some wasting disease like the pox or influenza? Perhaps it was violence or another of 100 pitiful fates that claim the children of the poor before the true horrors of life reveal themselves and befoul their souls. I sat watching, waiting so patiently within the mist, a foul specter keeping a respectful distance from things clean and wholesome. I always watched the funerals, mesmerized by the solemn rituals and somber garb, and the plump little priest who officiates between the living and the dead. I particularly like that plump little priest and look forward to loving him all the more dearly one day when it is his turn to feel the fragrant dark earth close fast around him. But today, I must remain patient. I wait, keep out of sight, never suspected, never seen. Only, with the cusp of twilight will I return to feast upon your beautiful pale flesh. It's with an eager watchful eye that I inspect new graves as they appear in the garden of death where I've made my home these many years. When I saw your unadorned headstone, saw that you were so young when you were taken, I trembled with anticipation. You were just 17 years, the same age that I was sent into the earth, the victim of the plague a century, or was it 2, before your birth. I'm not sure why and by what strange magics I had come out of the dark soil that first night, called by a starving need I could not name. Nearby, I saw others like me. They feasted ecstatically on the grizzled, dripping morsels they dug from the ground with bare, ragged hands, and I could smell the pungent fragrance of the delicacies scattered like gifts across the ancient cemetery grounds. I'd kept to myself for a long time after I clawed my way to the surface that first night, not yet understanding the need that drove me upwards into the still night air, where I gasped and coughed for breath to fill my dead lungs. I've kept to myself ever since, only a nod in passing to any other ghoul who unavoidably happens to cross my path. But if I am to abide, and live is hardly the right word for my status, if I am to abide, I must feast, but I am a very picky eater. That's why I sought you out, young, perhaps innocent, perhaps not. What did that matter to one such as myself? You were young as I was young, and therefore would be tender to my touch. I favor most the flesh of those who might in life have been my friends and lovers. It fills me with the sort of companionship I am now forever denied. The delicate brush of your fingers across my dead soul as you first resist me. The sweet gasp of teasing laughter, even for just a moment as the last of you fades forever from the world. It is enough, in that secret moment, I am not alone. Today, when I saw your grave and the 5 small, dark-eyed sisters grasping at their mother's thin body in their rags, I knew they would never return with flowers and prayers, that they would leave you to your rest, and to my arms and lips when I bent to give you my kiss of gratitude. To awaken you and all the sleeping unknown loves I have taken, I had composed a simple tune. Seated beside your headstone, I took my lute and began to sing. O sweetest maiden, now supine, Awaken now, and share your wine, as once in youth so full of life, you could have been my laughing wife. I knew it wasn't much of a song. I had never been a poet in life, and hadn't learned to sing and play upon the lute until I was long dead. I'd never had much to sing about before I met death on a windswept hill. I finished my song, brought the lute to rest in my lap, and sat quietly, waiting for you to appear, listening intently for the slightest sound, not of sleigh bells in the snow, but the scratching of your small dead fingers as they clawed their way through the cold, hard earth towards me, starving to fill your silent lungs with your first ghoul's breath. If you did not appear, and many others had failed before you to appear, preferring to remain within the earth, then I would settle for a midnight feast. I would dig you up and suck the flesh from your body and savor the last drop of your delicate wine before draining away the marrow of your bones into my cup. Such is the dream which fuels my sleep. And what if I refuse? The voice shattered the gloomy silence, and I leapt up to see you sitting on your gravestone, your arms crossed over your chest. Not a sweet, succulent corpse, but, indeed, the most beautiful, translucent wraith I had ever seen. All I could do was grin, tongue-tied, as you stared at me, your face a pale, icy mask of rage. My heart sank then. This complicated matters significantly, and I resigned myself to dining on cold leftovers from some other open pit of earth. If you were already a wraith, you could clearly bar my entry and foil my hungering amorous aims. I am a gentleman of the 18th century after all, and never force a lady against her will. I asked you a question. What if I refuse? Your voice stung me, and I dared not even reply. You were so beautiful, your dark hair streaming behind you in the falling beams of moonlight, your eyes like firebrands that scorched my dark soul to the marrow. If you refuse me, madam, then I beg your pardon and go on my way, I said, with an awkward old-fashioned bow that was for me the minimum of decorum demanded in such circumstances. But you just laughed, and laughed, and laughed darkly, and the falling petals of your mirth destroyed my heart and took me captive in the talons of your cold eyes. I turned and walked away, saddened and quite frankly very disappointed. I could always feed, as I always did. That was never a problem, and a ghoul always prospers in the lands where people bury their dead. Where are you going? Come back here, your voice commanded, searing into my back as I retreated deeper into the cemetery in search of less lively fare upon which to dine. Come back here! Your voice was a torment, a scourge upon my back, but it soon faded from my ears, and the monotony of peace was once again upon me. It was long my custom to rest within the abandoned mausoleum of an ancient family long extinct. It was a vain indulgence, I know, a luxury I could never have known in life. The irony of a night haunt making his bed within a marble tomb, in a shabby little cemetery that the fashionable aristocratic vampires, in their fine clothes and jewels and seemly ways, were dread to enter, for fear it might soil their crimson reputations, was all too clear. Bottom feeders, they called us, with no charm or seductive skills to entice the living willingly, gladly, into our arms. Ah, too true, too true. Seasons came and changed their hues, then fled to begin the dance anew, but I could not stop thinking of you. Why had you mocked me? What had you wanted from me that night when you refused to come as a corpse to answer my hunger, but came instead as a wraith of your own volition, but still refused my embrace? What was I, a ghoul, to do with a beautiful, radiant wraith such as you? I was intrigued. I was fascinated, besotted, obsessed, and in love. In all this time, never once did I catch a glimpse of you flowing as a pale white mist among the tombs, never felt the fluid thrill of the dead spirit nearby, for the feel of a ghoul is a very different thing. Coarse, almost living, a malign creature of ill intent. Most of the time that is the way of the ghoul, but I vainly fancied myself cut from other cloth, from the rarefied stuff of dreams, the dreams of romantic souls among the living and the dead. But alas, there's too much of the ghoul about me to be welcomed among the ranks of fine vampires who roam the city openly among the living, dining in their fine places and lounging in the dark places that hide their secrets from the uninitiated. I'm not deemed ghoul enough, though, for the coarse company of my own breed of night haunts in their great communal feasting. So I drown my days and nights in solitude, the only friend, it seems, who will have me, as I feed alone upon the scattered remains among the tombs. But I can still hear the echo of your laughter as it fell upon me like a cold rain upon my grave, the constant companion of my dreams, and wonder what we might have been together, you and I. And when I dare to sleep, I dare to dream of you.